I mean, we started, Brooks. Someone gave us an old garden shed. I think it was maybe 8 by 12. You know, something you can pick up at Lowe's or Menards, something really cheap. We found a used one. We did insulate it and kind of put some windows in it, but we had less than, I think it was around $3,000 in all the improvements to that little shack, and before you know it, it was bringing in $40,000 per year in income. I think it was by the second year.
You're listening to Gray's Cast, a show that shares the secrets to selling perishable food products online. The show and advice is brought to you by the team at Seven Sons, which is an 8-figure e-commerce business that started completely from scratch. Each episode, we bring you one topic, 3 strategies, and one tangible resource to continue your learning and put you on the fast track in your own e-commerce journey. Let's begin.
So the reason why we're talking about a self-service on-farm store today, something that operates on the honor system, is because it's the most scale-neutral sales channel that you can operate. When you think about all the different things you can do, you can go to farmers markets in the early days, you can start curbside pickup programs, you can sell to restaurants and retailers. All of those require your time, they require input costs. The farm store for us, and this was one of our most successful early sales channels, it just required small overheads for the store, and then operating on the honor system, it was scale neutral, and it became a very successful channel for us over time.
Human resource neutral. So
yes.
It didn't matter if we had 1 customer per day or 10, the human resources was 0.
And so a self-service store, it's not going to be something that works for everybody, but this is something that we did and scaled from scratch to just a handful of customers coming through to buy eggs to a $300,000 sales channel. And there's just some lessons learned that through that. We're going to help you identify whether or not self-service store is good for you. And if it is,
how to make it successful.
Yes. How do you make this successful?
And then maybe we can cover too, when do you think about making the decision going from self-serve to a staffed store like we do now? So.
Yep. I think this channel, you're going to want to especially be considering if you're starting out in the early days, because in the early days, if you're farming, you're setting up a lot of infrastructure and you don't have a lot of bandwidth. So finding those scale neutral ways that you can start to grow a customer base is going to be really, really important.
It also, for us, Brooks, an on-farm store was a really successful bridge from our local farmers markets we were doing. It was actually easier to get someone bridged over to the on-farm store self-serve versus going online and placing an order. And so that was a great bridge.
Yeah, because they were used to buying in person. They were used to taking time out of their day. So that was how they're used to buying this type of product.
Yes.
And it was a great way then from the markets. When we did start going to those markets, we were always trying to graduate that customer to coming to
every
the farm store.
Single order or a sale at the farmer's market, Brooks, had this full page cardstock brochure for the store.
Yep.
So, and it worked. So
we'll just go ahead and dive into kind of the 3 tips, some lessons learned through our experience with this. And the first one's all about your location. And this is kind of the factor that you need to take into mind when it comes to determining whether or not a farm store is right for you, because the location of your business and where you're at on the map is going to play a big difference into this. So ideally, you're located to a major city. Blaine, we're 15 minutes away from Fort Wayne, Indiana, which population size
250,000.
250,000 people. So that's a great market for us within a 15-mile driving distance.
Yes.
If you're getting to where, you're several hours away from a major market, there's just less opportunity for you in that scenario. I'm not saying that it's not something to where you can still have a farm store, because again, the scale neutral side of it makes it a low investment to try. But being close to a major market makes a big impact, in combination with, because we're operating a self-serve store, not being located on a busy road.
Right. So most people think, if I'm going to have a farm store or a farm stand, I need drive-by traffic. And actually, for a self-serve honor system, we find that it was actually better to be on, we're not on a dirt road by any means, but it's not a very busy road. Basically, the success of $300,000 per year in our self-serve store wasn't because of drive-by traffic.
No.
It was people found us at the markets, they've heard about us, or they found us online.
You got to think about it. You can't really leverage that drive-by traffic anyways, because your product, you're not serving the general public.
Yeah,
no,
right.
it's a very specific, it's a niche product. You're serving a very specific type of customer, and they really they're going to find out about you from somewhere else if they're interested in buying.
And it's an intentional buyer, Brooks, that's invested in the philosophy of your farm. And the reason that is important because it pairs well with the honor system and trust.
Yep.
We always, customers for the first time would come out to our store, Brooks, and it was really a moment of magic because they would see, and sometimes we'd meet customers there if we were close, and they'd say, "This is on the honor system," and we would say, "Well, we expect you to trust us for your food source. The least we can do is trust you in this farm store," and that immediately just built this trust.
Yep.
The thing about trust is it sometimes it takes long to build it, but other times it happens immediately. And that was something that I think really was cool about the on-farm stores that really solidified that trust. And again, because of the type of product we were selling, the types of consumers we were serving, we weren't on a busy road, so not getting the general public. That's why the honor system worked so long. So, risk-adverse people just really have a hard time with this idea of an honor system, but it worked for us.
And that is a nice secret ingredient, that trust factor, because it reciprocates when people come out there. It's almost like reciprocity. They've trusted me, and I'm more likely to want to trust them with supporting their business,
being more loyal. Yeah.
Another great thing about not being on a very busy road is you can give you a little bit more confidence for the hours and time of day that you're going to leave that store open. So something that we did is we left it open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that's something that we actually, now that our store, we've finally reached a point to where it's not self-serve anymore because we have so many customers coming out, we still can't create that type of availability and access to our products now that we're having to pay someone to staff the store. So that's another great benefit of this scale-neutral self-serve store.
Well, let's talk about like this, like the availability in a time frame that people have to buy your products, the wider it is, your sales will go up.
Yep.
Right with it. So a farmer's market is open like only a few hours out of the entire 365 days out of the year. Like talking about a farmer's market is like a little narrow a window of availability. An on-farm store, self-serve, we were, as you said, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days per week.
We've always talked about how convenience has really been a driving force for this industry and who's really been able to come out on top, who's really been able to see the growth versus people who have not. And convenience is one of the biggest driving factors. So the availability window is something that offers a lot of convenience to your customers to stop by when they want on their schedule.
And Brooks, the busiest grocery shopping day of the week is what?
Sunday.
And that was always our busiest day at the on-farm store. I think people really enjoyed a Sunday stroll out to the farm.
After church. Yep.
Yes.
With the family.
Correct.
So number one, location, that matters. Number two, our tip is going to be to use a portable structure for the farm store versus a permanent building or a space inside of a permanent building. What this does is it allows you to actually fly under the radar for a lot of the regulations and building codes for your building department, the health department, and that has been really critical for us. And actually, still today, we've had 3 different upgrades for our farm store because we needed more space.
It's still portable,
still a portable structure.
Because listen, I mean, there's great people at the building department that just need to do their job. And the minute that you're applying for a permanent structure, there's check boxes and hoops that you have to jump through in that process and the portable building. And you want to be wise about it, obviously, and know your building regulations and the health department codes in your area because it's very different in each area.
Yep.
But yeah, just having a portable building. For one thing, Brooks, we've also moved the store location on the farm 3 different times. So we found it needs to be positioned over here. This will allow for more parking, and so it was just a very flexible thing that could scale over time and move.
Yeah, flexibility is the big thing because you got to think about it. A lot of times when we're telling people about this whole idea of an on-farm store, they're not confident that it's going to actually work. They don't know if there's enough people in the area who will find them.
Yes.
Well, this can give you a little more confidence because a portable structure has resale value, so there's less risk involved with that. And you got the resale value too for if it does go really well and you need to upgrade to another structure, get rid of the old one and buy something else that's portable that's a little bigger. We've had a lot of success with those portable log cabins.
Yes.
We
have.
We've just purchased what fit for as far as what we needed for the space, and then it's been very easy to be able to make.
We started, Brooks. Someone gave us an old garden shed. I think it was maybe 8 by 12. Something you can pick up at Lowe's or Menards. Something really cheap. We found a used one. We did insulate it and kind of put some windows in it, but we had less than, I think it was around $3,000 in all the improvements to that little shack, and before you know it, it was bringing in 40,000 per year in income. I think it was by the second year.
Yeah, I think we weren't sure if that investment would ever pay for itself.
Yeah.
But mom and dad were
We
tired.
got the invoice from the contract. We're like, oh my goodness. And we're like, I hope we get it back, and we had it tenfold back in the next 24 months.
So focus on the location. That's going to help determine how much opportunity there is here for you, and a portable structure is going to help eliminate some of that hassle. And then leveraging online visibility is number 3, our 3 key here to having a thriving on-farm store, because let's face it, you need to be found. And again, if you're not on a busy road and your business is just starting out, you don't have any of that word of mouth growing for you. So you have to figure out a way, how do you get your business in front of more people?
Yeah.
And the big strategy for us has been creating online visibility. That's where it's really been the game changer for our business. So having an online presence, having a website, focusing on link building strategies. We've talked about link building quite a few different times on this.
Google business listing, that'll be great for your on-farm store.
Yeah, so the Google business listing, that determines, it helps you show up on the map. So again, when people are coming out to the farm store, they're going to need directions. That determines how you display on there, and it helps your website get found. Registering that Google business listing.
Yeah.
Some other things that have been helpful for building more awareness about our farm store, acquiring some new customers, have been farm tours and events.
Yes.
And when we do farm tours and events, those are great things to be able to create more visibility online for as well. So not only are we announcing them to obviously our newsletter list, we're announcing them on social media, but also, focusing on that link building strategy again. Look at for those community websites for, community awareness. So like there's things to do Fort Wayne, Indiana, or things to do Huntington, Indiana, where they're happy to highlight any events, local businesses, get listings on those websites. If you're doing farm tours, have those listings go back to your website. And that's a great way to promote those type of events for the farm and bring more exposure to the farm store.
The farm store, exactly. Something else, Brooks, that's been really, really handy about having a farm store all these years is that it pairs well with the promise of an open door policy at your farm, because we've always had an open door policy to the public. And so, if you get into this, you will get the phone calls of people saying, can I come out to the farm? And so if you don't have a farm store, it's like, well, yeah, you can. I'll have to be around to show you around, or show you where at least you can go and stuff, and kind of show you the ropes. That's not our property over there type thing.
Yep.
But when someone calls, once we had a farm store, it's like, yep, come out anytime, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We have this little farm store open. You're welcome to browse around. It showcases our products. If we're around, we'll stop and say hi. And
you pair that with the tours too. And then if you want, a more in-depth overview of the farm, you want to meet us, hey, we do these tours every other Saturday, whatever
so you
it
have
is.
this little ascension and these different options for
Another
people.
big key with the events too, because we not only do we do the tours, but we host a major event every year we call Farm Fest. So it's an annual event. We have vendors out, there's live music, there's food, and of course we're running specials inside the farm store, because again, we're trying to create exposure with new people, and that's a fun family event where people are more likely to bring relatives and other people who aren't aware that you even exist. I think the last farm festival we did, how many folks did we had come out to that?
1,800,
And I think over half of them had never purchased from Seven Sons before.
Yeah.
So we actually use that event to, again, try to expose them to our products. So sometimes people are just going to come out for the good time.
Yep.
But everyone who showed up at that event, we give them a coupon that's redeemable for the farm store.
Yeah.
And when you pass out that coupon and someone doesn't use it, almost feels like they're throwing $10 in the trash or whatever the coupon is.
Yeah.
And that's been a very effective strategy to get people exposed to the farm store.
And we're kind of just adding on little bonuses here, Brooks. But another thing that it is great is the authenticity that it adds to your online business. So let's say someone is 3 hours away in Chicago from us, Brooks, or let's say 5 hours away in Columbus or some of the Ohio cities. Even though they're not close enough to drive to the farm, we make sure that we promote the fact that we have a farm store in our newsletter, because it just adds to the fact that we are farm. You can come and visit.
Yep.
We're people you can know and trust, and you actually can visit us. So we always rag on the names Crowd Cow and Butcher Box, but they don't have that same thing.
Yep.
They can't compete with that. So it adds authenticity.
So not only can a farm store, self-serve farm store work, it can be very, very profitable very quickly. And it adds that nice authenticity layer into what you're doing and helps you build that trust and relationship with your customers.
One last thing, Brooks, selection. I know we could keep going on some of these things, but having the eggs in the farm store really has helped to bring out repeat customers. I wonder what the success of the farm store would have been without the eggs, such a sticky product like that.
And we always tell people one of the fastest ways to grow is to get your customers, when they're buying from you, buying more from you. So that applies to if you're trying to fill the truck for a curbside pickup, if you're trying to fill a box for home delivery, and if you're trying to get the most out of every stop that someone's making in the farm store.
One time, eggs are our most profitable enterprise and scaled the most on our farm. But I remember there was a day that it wasn't very scaled, and we wanted to drop the egg enterprise. The number one reason we didn't was because of the stickiness that it brought to the farm store customers. So when you're putting up a farm store, it does kind of make you nervous with regulations and things. Just be smart about it. Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund is a great organization to be a member of and get in touch with them. They know different codes in different areas. They can walk you through things and be smart about it. Let's not start butchering meat without inspection and trying to sell it in your farm store. Everything we have in our farm store, it's sealed, packaged with a USDA label. We're not doing anything with the processing and packaging. And
if you're curious and you want to get more tips from folks who can add insights into your area, that's one of the benefits of being a Grace Cart client, because we have the Grace Cart Community Campfire, which is a Facebook group where you can turn there, ask questions. I know there's many clients who have on-farm stores. See if there's someone in your area that you can pick their brain a little bit further on this.